Imagine with me now that you are 50 years old and you meditate and think about the achievements you have made throughout your life. And then you discover that you wasted 20 years of your precious life. 20 years and you do not have any achievements and live life as if you do not exist at all. This is exactly what happened with the author Mel Robbins. In these 20 years it was a complete failure. She used to start with something and then leave it halfway. Unemployed, and her relationship is very bad with her husband because of her neglect of her children. And above all this, Robbins became an alcoholic and laziness was an essential part of her life. She was not doing anything literally, to the point that she would let the alarm clock ring daily and she was indifferent to the sound. This state of laziness continued until that day came. Robbins was sitting watching TV and an advertisement appeared for a countdown to a rocket. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then the rocket goes off. And because of this simple scene, the author began to think about her life and remembered the amount of time she wasted in her life, and everything began to change for her, as if the explosion of the rocket in the advertisement was an explosion in her life and a new starting point. The author, the next day when she heard the sound of the alarm clock, began to count down as happened with the rocket, and eventually she got out of bed and decided that she would change many things in her life. And Robbins began to change and called this countdown the 5 seconds rule. What is this rule and how can it change your life? We'll know that at the end of the video. Have you ever felt that you are not in a good mood and that circumstances around you do not help you work? And did you feel that social, political, and economic events make you feel severe pressure that leads you to refuse to do anything? The question here is whether you really have to be in the right mood to start working today. Should there be someone who tells you to work, motivates you, and encourages you? And because of this talk you will get up to work? The author says that motivation has no effect on humans, and this seems exaggerated on her part, but she wanted to convey to us as readers that we should not rely on motivation in order to do something in our lives. Your mood should not have a role in completing your tasks and daily work. You have to complete your tasks, whether you are happy today or sad or depressed. You have things that you have to finish, so you must finish them. Julian Rotter put forward a very important concept in psychology in 1945 called locus of control. This concept says the more convinced you are that you are in control of your life, your actions, and your future, the more chances you have to succeed. This will make you tend to act always, and in turn will make you accomplish more in life. The author began to look for scientific reasons for the success of the 5 seconds rule with her. We can define this rule as a cognitive tool that generates immediate behavior where you use it as a signal to defeat your mind. And we can describe this rule as a momentum. This rule will give you the courage and will enable you to defeat laziness and do anything you want. It is somewhat similar to the trick that our parents used to do with us when we were young, when they told us to bring them something in 5 seconds, and they start counting to give you a dose of momentum that makes you excited to defeat them. The same thing you do with your brain. You assume that you will defeat your brain after counting for 5 seconds, and this will give you a push to accomplish what you want to do. Simply whenever you feel hesitant to do something but you know you have to do it, you should use the 5 seconds rule. Counting for 5 seconds help you determine the goal you want to accomplish, and indeed this method works. The question is, how does something as trivial as this affect us? Just counting for 5 seconds make you take out the garbage, go shopping, or get to exercise. And explaining it is very simple. You can restrain your anger in a difficult situation. You could jump into a river to save your dog or son who is drowning. You can do what you want and control your mind when you are going to do an important thing to you. And this is the basis of this rule. When you start counting, you make your brain think that you have to do it, because it is so important that you have stopped the habit of procrastination by counting. Also, you have given your mind a signal to do something. You can watch the video of the atomic habits in the channel as well to understand the role of the signals in controlling habits and creating new ones. But now we will talk about procrastination and how to overcome it. There are two types of procrastination. The first is useful procrastination and the second is harmful procrastination. The first type of procrastination that you do when you have creative work and creative stuff and needs you time to produce something innovative. For example, if you want to write a book on a specific topic, you cannot rush to write it because rushing will not make you think well, and this will affect the quality of this work. And therefore in this case this is considered a useful procrastination because you give your mind rest and enough time to get creative work. On the other hand, harmful procrastination is destructive procrastination that makes you avoid the work that you have to accomplish, although you know that there are negative consequences when postponing this thing. This type of procrastination is not laziness, but rather a kind of psychological defense to avoid work pressure and a sense of psychological stress. And since you know this will happen to you, you avoid doing these things in the first place. The suffering you are going through may not be due to the work itself, because the work may not be tiring tiring in the first place. But the real tiredness is a tiredness related to the ideas you have. These ideas have to do with your relationships, money, or problems. So when you evade work or study, this is because you want to rest psychologically. And the author says that there are 3 steps to defeat this harmful procrastination. And the first is accept your problem. You have to tell yourself that you have a problem of procrastination, and know that procrastination is a natural problem that most people go through. Forgive yourself and do not always feel guilty, but you have to accept that you have a problem in order to solve it. Second step, ask yourself what you want to be in the future. When you see the future image of you that you wish to be, this will help you push yourself for better to reach the person you want to be. Step 3. Always use the 5 seconds rule when you feel that you are starting to procrastinate. Using the rule every time will help you overcome the habit of procrastination and will create an anti-procrastination habit for you. The 5 seconds rule is not only used to overcome procrastination or to stimulate the mind to do variety of actions, but we can also use it in the face of fear and anxiety. The author has a long story with fear and anxiety to the extent that it followed her even during her fame, and she said that when she was doing courses to help people, she had this anxiety, although the supposed feeling is enthusiasm. So she used the 5 second rule to succeed in distracting her conflicting and overlapping feelings and focus on one thing, which is that she will benefit others and help them, and this is what creates a sense of comfort and enthusiasm for her. The 5 second rule allowed her to focus on her main goal and removed all distractions and conflicting ideas in her mind. Those thoughts that say, I may not be enough, I'm scared. What am I doing here? What if I can't really help others? All this distraction disappeared because she focused on one thing and was able to achieve internal stability. In the end, this is a summary. A person in this life wants to accomplish a lot of things, but his mood affects him negatively. You should not rely on your mood to accomplish anything. The 5 second rule is a simple knowledge tool based on studies and research. Try to use it in order to be able to overcome your brain. You have to defeat your brain that thinks you always need motivation to do things. The 5 second rule will give you the momentum to be able to do things you should do. Whenever you feel hesitant to do something, start counting for 5 seconds and then force yourself to do it. And this rule is not only used to accomplish things, but it can also be used to defeat procrastination. And also the most important point is to use it to get rid of anxiety and conflicting and negative feelings that distract our minds. And this focusing will help you reach the goal that eliminates anxiety and makes you change your life completely. And we reached the end of the video. Beatbooks was with you, and thank you for watching.